Hey guys, Dave Nelson with TideWe. Today we're going to talk about turkey calls. Everything I'm going to be doing today is on a diaphragm, and what we're going to discuss is sounding like a turkey in certain instances and notes that I'll do or sounds that I'll do in situations. If you get into a spot, whether you roosted a bird or you showed up in the morning and got one to gobble off an owl hooter or something like that, you kind of close that distance. I'll usually stay pretty quiet. Some guys, right as the sun starts to crack or it starts to get light, that bird will gobble, they get excited. Other hens will start yelping and they feel like they should start yelping too. Usually what it does is kind of singles you out. I think those birds have a pretty good idea as to who's roosted around them. For you to start calling that early, I don't think that's a benefit. I think the best thing you can do, and what I do, is I'll find a spot from scouting. I know where they're going to feed. I'll try to get in between that. But say I'm just going in blind, I'll find a spot that I think from looking at a map where they might be feeding, try to intercept them there. And I'll set up and I'll stay pretty quiet until those birds are either on the ground or starting to fly down, or to a point where they're going to fly down soon. At that point, I'll start to call, but I'm not going to be over the top. I'm not calling at this point at the tom either. I'm more so just trying to sound like a content hen. And a lot of times those hens are going to get ticked off, and you're more so calling at the hens than you are at the tom at this point. Again, try to picture it. You've heard a bird gobbling. You're within that 150 to 100 yards. You found a good spot to sit. It's just starting to get light and the birds are just starting to fly down. I'm going to be really quiet, really, with the call. And what I'll do when I'm doing those notes, as long as I can't see the birds really well, I'll take my hand and I'll scratch the leaves a little bit too. Just make it sound like a hen that had just flown down. She's on the ground and she's just kind of milling her way around, looking for food, pecking at the ground. And it sounds realistic. The one thing you don't want to do is get in there, get all excited, and then just start cutting like crazy and calling like crazy at that bird, because all that ever does, for me at least, is 9 times out of 10, those birds go the other way. But if you stay quiet, stay content in that situation, you're usually drawing the interest of the hens rather than you are the tom. Usually less is more when it comes to turkey calling in that situation. Less calling is going to put more birds in your bag in that situation early in the morning, right off the roost. So the next situation we'll talk about is midday. It didn't work out for you right when that bird flew off the limb. You get up, whether your legs are sore, you're just one of those guys like myself that's impatient, get up and you start walking. And whether you know where birds might be or you're just on public land running a ridgetop trying to strike a bird, what I'll do is I'll do the same thing, whether it's a box call, slate call, it doesn't matter. You can do it all on any of the 3 turkey calls. And I would say every 100 to 200 yards, you pick, I'll cut. And the cutting is that. That's what I'm going to do. And it's an excited sound. And what you're going to get is a response out of a bird quick. And there's absolutely nothing better. Sometimes it doesn't happen the first 100 yards. The second, you might walk for 15, 20 minutes. So by that excited yelping, it gets an excited response out of a tom. And if you're in a pressured area, I think a lot of people just walk, they'll cut or they'll make their sound, there's no turkeys here, and they'll leave. You walk that 100 yards, you do your cuts or your yelps, whatever you're comfortable doing. That bird hears you, but he's not going to gobble right away, whether it's pressure related, whatever reason, okay? It doesn't gobble. Well, now you very slowly, you quietly, you keep walking, you go that extra 100 yards again, do it again. Well, now that bird, if he still hears you, he thinks that you're a hen that's walking a ridgetop. So in order to get your attention and say, hey, I'm down here, gonna gobble. To paint the picture, it's the tom is down there, he hears you, he's interested, and now you're walking away, and he knows you're leaving. It sounds like you're leaving. So he wants to get your attention. He's going to gobble. Whether he cuts that distance or not, you at least have him located, and then you go from there. So now that you've got him located, you walk past, he gobbled, you did whatever it was. For me, it's always those cuts. Some people will just yelp. An excited cut usually seems to get a better response out of a bird for me. You were cutting at him, he gobbled. Now what do? I go rogue. I ghost him. I stay quiet, and I'm gonna wait for that bird to gobble a second time and give up his location. Okay, sometimes it's 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes sitting there. He gobbles again because he's wondering, where did you go? At that point, I'll yelp at him again. That's it, just that little bit of a yelp. If he gobbles again right after that, or he cuts me off while I'm doing that, I'm gonna get excited with him. I'm gonna start cutting right away at him. So he gobbles. And even the yelps are going to get more excited at that point. So I went from that, he gobbles. You can hear the excitement, kind of pick it up from cadence and pitch, make it an excited noise. That's going to get him fired up. And at that point again, then I'm going to go quiet. He knows where I am. I sound like an excited hen. He's usually pretty fired up. He's going to close that distance. I will not call again at him until he gobbles and he has cut that distance in half. The more excited you get and consistently stay with him, the more he thinks that you're going to come to him because you're excited, you're interested. Shorter time span that you spend in between him gobbling and you calling just shows your level of interest to him. And in the turkey world, the hens go to the toms. The toms don't come to the hens. So all you're doing is just making it easy for him to just kind of sit there. He's thinking you're interested, and he's just going to keep gobbling. And more oftentimes than not, when you overcall to a bird, they lose interest, and they're going to go the other way. There's a long-winded explanation. Obviously, that's not all the situations, but a few of the situations you might come across this turkey season, and a few tips that might help you on the calling side of things to help kill that bird.